Scary Terry. Terry McLaurin's still not signed. It still feels like the deal is going to be in the future, but they can't decide on a contract. Terry apparently wants at least 30 mil. Teams aren't, or the Commanders aren't willing to give more than 27 or 28 as the numbers. But regardless, they need that dude moving forward. They need that guy. And actually, speaking of Hollywood Casino up at Charlestown Races, we got to talk with Santana Moss, Washington legend. And also, I think he can really relate to Scary Terry, wide receiver that dealt with a lot of quarterback play and a lot of underperforming quarterback play where people might have doubted how good he was. Well, guess what? Santana wanted to set the record straight on just how valuable, Jayden Daniels is everything to that franchise. But Terry McLaurin might be that heartbeat. So let me play that clip for you guys.
Terry McLaurin and just having – he went out there. This guy arguably is one of the better receivers.
I don't know what happened there.
I don't either.
Try this again.
Yeah.
Arguably is one of the better receivers, top 5 receivers in our division the last, 5 years without Jayden Daniels. You saw what Terry was able to do. Like the last 9-10 games he played in, he had, 10, you include that Philly game, coming into that game, he had 9 touchdowns in 10 games. So now you add that game, he had 10 in 11 games. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's what having a quarterback does for a receiver. And at one point they were saying, "Oh, Terry's not really he's not a top tier wideout. Why isn't he?" This is only a guy that at one point we was calling Mr. 50-50. We had to change that name to Mr. Clutch. It's okay to be that guy. It's okay to be the guy that everybody talks about. But in order for you to be that guy that your team is going to consistently talk about, or the fan base is going to consistently talk about, it's about how consistent can you be, in your journey or through your journey in this league and on any level. And that's what Terry brought. He brought consistency. He was a guy that regardless of who the quarterback was, his play never changed. And then when the quarterback got better, his play rose to the challenge. So that's what pays dividends when you have a guy like Terry that's just been fighting, man, that's just been clawing, and that had that dog ass mentality before Dan Quinn them got in here. And that's what Dan did when he realized, like, oh, okay, I got certain guys on here that already have, what I taught, what I preach.
I agree 100% with Santana on that. And we've looked at that. If you look at the career for Scary Terry, all that crap that was happening back in the earlier part of his career, the quarterbacks, the ownership situations, the dysfunction, so to speak.
Yep.
Who was the constant, consistent player that showed up each and every game and week? It was Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
And then insert Jayden Daniels, which by far his talent and what he's meant to that team, he is the franchise. He is everything. But his development also was helped by the presence of Terry McLaurin. Not only did Terry have a great year, like Santana said, he was clutch. Touchdowns, the big moments. He made it, the contested balls. Who was the go-to guy? It was Terry. And if Washington is going to try to make a repeat of going back to the championship game or going beyond, here where there are 13 without Terry on the field.
I was just about to say, like, I don't know if there is, like, if you don't pay Terry, who do you get to replace him? And can you do that? I don't think you can. I don't think there's anyone that replaces Terry who has the rapport with the team, who has the relationship with Jayden Daniels. It doesn't make any sense to me why they wouldn't pay him. That being said, we've talked about this a couple of times before. There's also a point where the player has to come to a realization of like, hey, like, do I want to win for the team? I understand that players still need to get their bag, but at some point there has to be compromise. I don't know what the talks have been like between Terry and the Commanders, but I just have a feeling that there is a certain, I don't know, I guess number that Terry has that's probably amongst the highest paid wide receiver in football. I will say that while Terry's super important to this team, I don't know if he is the highest paid wide receiver in football type caliber receiver.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to go for
receiver.
receiver, unique New York. But I don't think it's necessarily that he wants to be the highest, and Zach, I think it's more the value. And he thinks where a lot of guys, where his performance based off of what he's being paid, he thinks there's a drastic difference. So the one thing I want, Zach, and you can go ahead, is 28. If the difference is 28 and 30 million, is the $2 million that you're off going to be the biggest thing that keeps it off? But Zach, go ahead.
Yeah. So Terry McLaurin wants 33 million. And why does he want 33 million? Well, because that's what DK Metcalf just got, who was in his draft class. That is why Terry is saying, hey, guy with very similar production to me. Yes, he's a little younger. Same draft class. He got 33 million. I want 33 million. The Commanders, kind of what Brad's saying, are like, hey, you're great. We'll give you, we'll meet you in the upper echelon. We're not giving 33 million. So they're going to have to figure something out. I would say they probably come down in that 29, 30 million and call it a deal, eventually. But that seems to be where Terry is basing his asking price off of is, hey, I want 33 million because a guy that I have put up very similar production for with, let's be real, a whole heck of a lot less talent around me.
Right.
I deserve this payday. I deserve to get paid what he's doing, what he's getting. And I'm not going to sit here and say that Terry deserves what DK Metcalf is getting. I think DK is just a specimen beyond belief, especially when you bring in the age difference. But I think Terry is going to end up getting that 29, 30 million. I don't think he gets 33, but I understand where he's asking. But I also understand why the Commanders are like, hey, we're not willing to go that high.
Yeah, well, the other part is because of that, the age, Terry going to be 30, and you know how people think about wide receivers as they go 30 and older.
Yeah.
It factors into this whole conversation. But let's take it one step further for me. When you look at a guy that embodies your organization, and I know that people can, and this is where in the front office, the best GMs in the world have the best pulse on their teams and what people you need to bring in. Terry's impact is just as valuable to this team on the field than it is off. If you remove a leader from the clubhouse, I'm sure the Commanders can go out and win some games. You have Jayden Daniels. It's like the same thing you say in Baltimore. You have Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
You have Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. You have Josh Allen in Buffalo. If you have an elite quarterback, your team is going to feel better about its chances. But I don't like taking a high-character guy and shipping him off or not having to be a part of your team. And that's what I worry about when you're creating a culture. And Santana said it at the end. Terry already embodied what the culture was being set. Yeah, the culture is now being put in there. But imagine the Commanders take a step back without Terry. And now people are questioning the direction moving forward. That's where I look at it from. So if you're Terry, I don't blame him for wanting 33 mil. I'm with you, Zach. And for the Commanders, maybe meet in the middle, say 31 and call it a day. I just think that their window to compete, it's better with Terry paying him now.
100%.
Then I think Debo can make some plays, but he ain't that deep threat that Terry is.
No, and Debo also has injury history, as we all know. So you have Debo, I think, is like kind of the X factor and the wild card on the team. Take some pressure off of Terry, but like I wouldn't say that Debo is your replacement for Terry. No. And I don't know if you let Terry walk or if he doesn't play this year, who you replace him with. I mean, that at the end of the day, there's nobody that you can replace that guy with right now that's available.